Hello and welcome to Klevu's Discover TV Fireside Chat Series. This episode's guest is Richard Sandor, the Chief Strategy Officer for Ayamoda, a leading Shopify Plus design and development agency partner. Richard is a former big agency executive that worked for global and Fortune 500 brands. I'm excited to be chatting with you today, so let's jump right in.
Great to meet you. Good to have a fireside chat in the middle of summer, but actually we're up in Canada, so it's not. Yeah, it's kind of warm, but not super hot right now.
Have you tell us a little bit more about Ayamoda and where do you find success?
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about Ayamoda. We're a Shopify Plus design and development agency, and we've been focused on e-commerce for the last 9 years, Shopify Plus specifically for the last 4. So yeah, how we work is we help merchants get the most out of Shopify Plus, and that can take a couple forms. One, it can be a merchant that is on a competitive e-commerce platform and looking to migrate to Shopify Plus. We help in that process. We drive that process. And in other instances, a merchant might already be on Shopify or Shopify Plus, and we help them kind of re-up. Maybe there's a rebrand going on, and we help them re-up and get the latest and greatest with a new Shopify Plus site. And then lastly, we help merchants who, sites we might not have built before, and they're looking for ongoing support and enhancements to their current Shopify Plus site. So that's a little bit about us.
Great. And when merchants come to you, what are some factors you think about when it comes to product discovery?
Yeah, product discovery is critical, front and center of what we do, obviously, as an e-commerce agency. So yeah, so big picture things we take into account, we'll drill into is just understanding, obviously, it's a B2B or B2C type instance. Those lead to very different product discovery journeys, and even device types. So B2B can be a little bit more skewed even on desktop, so that can help when we're thinking through our design. Knowing what category the merchant is playing is really important too. Is it more of a functional category or a more emotional one? Is it very technical what they're selling or non-technical? Is it like a high involvement purchase and product versus a low involvement product and purchase? All of those are going to factor into different, and we'll talk about users in a minute, but just like user journeys and user paths. So that's important to know. Another thing to think about is just the merchant's approach to channels. So is it a D2C native business only, or do they have their own stores? That's something to consider. Even retail partners, or how Amazon fits into the mix. Those are all things that we like to think about there. What they're selling, the catalog size, and what the composition of the catalog is really important. It's going to be obviously very different for a large catalog versus a small catalog. We work with Form Swim, who have this like super cool high tech swim goggles. They just have one goggle, so that's one product. So that's a very different product discovery experience than, say, a large catalog. We're working with a merchant has upwards of 500,000 SKUs, so that's a very different catalog to work with. And even knowing what the core hero products are within a catalog. Looking at competitors is really important too. So the competitive set and the inspiration. So like to see what others are doing to tackle product discovery, not to kind of steal from them, but hopefully to be inspired and get our merchant to get fired up about doing a better job, seeing what the opportunity to improve that product discovery journey looks like. And then I'd say lastly, it's just double clicking on the current state, looking at data there. We'll do a UX audit on product discovery, specifically how that's performing. We'll look at sales data, what products are kind of trending. Often those can be very different. Talk about a retailer who sells in online and then in a physical store. Often the sales data will be quite different between online and offline there. Looking at the site data as well, even heat maps are super useful there for little clues on the current state and how things can be done better. And then lastly, there we'll do some either moderated or unmoderated usability testing and research on the current experience. Those are tremendously insightful. You can kind of see where users might be getting tripped up, or you think something's obvious and it's not. It's just kind of glazing over, or there might be some other areas that are performing really well that won't need adjusting. So those are all inputs kind of early on as we're factoring how to kind of retool product discovery for merchants.
And when you think about, you mentioned UX and heat maps. When you think about the end user, which is actually the customer, what do you consider when you're designing for product discovery in that term?
Yeah, they've got to discover it before they can buy it. So it's got to make that hopefully easy for them. And so there's lots of things to think about there, Ryan. I know you're in marketing, you're familiar with personas and all that. We like personas to a certain degree, but the way we look at understanding our users is really around understanding the user scenarios, their intent, and kind of mapping these out. And there's many different types of users, customers. There's many different paths. So the user journey path is not linear. It's non-linear. We know that. So some of the things we factor in, we're big skiers here, and so we like to use the kind of beginner, intermediate, advanced terminology. So what we're thinking about there is how familiar are the users or the user to the category, to the brand, to the product. They could be a new user, or they could be like a kind of a regular ongoing user. And so thinking about that when we map out the journey is going to be really, really important. So we have a client called Manitoba Harvest. We've been working with them for, gosh, since 2015. It's amazing. And they have a hemp hearts product, and that's quite a new product. People aren't familiar with that. So that's actually back when we thought of this sort of beginner, intermediate, advanced kind of framework to think of users. So knowing that, we get into the customer intent, and then thinking about do they have a specific product in mind already, or are they looking for a type of product? I mean, if you're thinking about that, I mean, I had to buy a replacement part for my dryer the other day, so I knew exactly the kind of model and the serial number. So I'm kind of hunting for a specific product, but that's a very different user journey than if I'm just like, oh, I think I need some new black jeans. That product discovery journey is quite a bit different. And then with that in mind, kind of thinking about where the customer is starting that discovery process on the site. And there's a lot of places that can happen. It's not all through the homepage, as we know. Every page is essentially a homepage. So kind of think about like homepage, product page, collection page. Could be a bespoke landing page for a marketing campaign or whatnot, or even a blog article or a recipe or kind of a how-to type page. Those are all kind of jump off points to begin that discovery process.
Yeah, it seems like you talked a lot more. Kind of seems like buyer's journey, and basically think about that when you talk about hemp hearts, about like that being a newer product where people are less familiar with it, and the buyer's journey might not be the same as it is for another website. Like something they're more familiar with like candy per se.
Yeah.
Another way people might be thinking about using product discovery is providing that tool to their buyers or end users to be able to do research on a product on their own website before actually making that purchase. So be able to learn more about the different factors of what hemp can be used for and how that's helpful for them can also still help push a buyer to making a purchase. But now it's more educated purchase because they used that search and product discovery tools to find the information they're looking for.
Yeah, big time. So yeah, on the hemp hearts one is a great example. It's more popular now, but it was definitely kind of more in the fringe stream 7 years ago when we started working with Manitoba Harvest. And so often the site was used, the person was in aisle at a store looking for that information on that product. Again, it's going to help them discover, learn more about that product, and maybe purchase that in the store, maybe not online. So the website and what we're trying to overcome there is just not for e-commerce all the time.
And what are some product discovery approaches you've seen taken or that you're using yourself now?
Yeah, there's so many ways to tackle product discovery. I think a natural place to start is just on-site live search. How prominent to make that. We talked about that one merchant we were working with that massive catalog size. Well, there we were putting that search functionality quite prominent on key pages, so to encourage folks to go and use that, and thinking about the interactions there, the behaviors, the results, even everything from down to the language and common misspellings of products, and making sure you're getting the right product results from that. Being very visual, that search can be very, very powerful. Next up, navigation can go a long way to help the product discovery journey. We like to encourage our merchants to break up product categories. So instead of using like one main nav item as shop, and then having a mega nav underneath there, is actually breaking out the various product categories and sort of splitting them across the navigation, the main navigation items, to help users get into that, understanding what the catalog is and get into discovering the right product. Need states. So we do a lot of work in health and wellness. So need states is another sharp way to get into helping users discover products. So that could be everything from I'm coming in for a product. It could be for immunity, or it could be boosting immunity. It could be about weight management. It could be about adding muscle mass. It could be more of a sports-based product and a nutritional value. So knowing what framing up through need states can be a powerful way to help users get there. I've seen a lot of quizzes. I don't know, you've probably seen these too. Quizzes are pretty trendy of late, and they can done well. I think they do offer value to the user in terms of product discovery. I think often merchants think about themselves a little bit more than their users sometimes, and there's a lot of data capturing that's going on in that journey, which isn't great from a user perspective, and particularly when you're getting into email and stuff like that, and people having to check their email for that product recommendation seems a bit convoluted for sure. So definitely, if you're going to do a quiz, we recommend not doing that. And then collections or category pages are super powerful, probably can be underwhelming, and there's a lot of opportunity there in terms of what products are merchandised particularly near the top of collections or category pages. I think that's a missed opportunity. Really thinking through the filtering, the order, and how the filtering is playing out for those collections pages, and customizing collections pages too. There's great opportunity there, and kind of that hero section, adding value with information or guides there can be helpful. And last but not least, I'd say even within that collections page, just everything doesn't have to be wall-to-wall product. It's nice to break that up from a user perspective and add some value, maybe with some tiles in there that maybe there's some common barriers that need to get overcome, or maybe users need to get some help. Can't find the product you're looking for, and there's a flow to help users get back kind of on track to discover the right kind of products there. So those are some of the techniques that we'll kind of dig into. Again, it's different with every merchant, but those are some common ones.
Yeah, and you mentioned like the quizzes and forms, and even the spelling, misspelling, especially when you do with health and wellness products, where weird names like echinacea aren't common words to spell, and people might not be able to spell it correctly. I know I can't personally. So going to a form and waiting for an email, or misspelling something ending up on a page that says no results, can really just slow down a person that's in that buying process. They're, right then and there, their intent is to make a purchase, and the last thing you want to do is stop and make someone think about that purchase any more than they already have. If they're already on your site, you want to make sure they're putting stuff in the cart.
Totally, you want to keep the flow going. So don't break that up for sure.
So great, Richard. And where should our viewers go to learn more about Ayamoda, what you can do, and how you can help Shopify Plus users?
Yeah, great. Yeah, so our website's a great spot there, ayamoda.com. You can see some of our work there, and some mini case studies on the work and some of the thinking that's gone behind the work, which I think was insightful, and a little bit about kind of our services and what we do.
Excellent. Well, thank you for your time today. It was a pleasure talking to you. I hope our viewers learned a lot, took away a lot of information and value that they can apply to their own life and their own lessons on their own retail stores.